Milo wakes up, thinking about those things he encountered and how he would like to avoid them, but he saw something that might come in handy. So a quick grab of food and back to where the grotesque things with the long legs are. Carefully, you jump and slide down the pole. Before you could hop over, another vision opens up behind you, where a Slugcat with a green pearl didn't make the jump and fell into the infected water. But one vision was not enough. Right away another vision opens, where two of those long-legged things tear at the Slugcat that was not nimble enough to evade their sticky arms. It is awful that you are standing right in the middle of this vision, and you are scared, but nonetheless you have to leap over again and make your way up. None of these things are to be seen, but you are not eager to find them again, so you hurry back up with your pearl in hand. And as you leap, you see some of the legs grasp out of the murky water. You're glad to not be down there anymore. But in your nervousness, you don't make a jump and fall a bit. Luckily, you manage to hold on to something and not fall all the way down. You climb up again and make sure to land your jump this time. You have to. One of the things was following you. In your panic, you run up into the tunnel and a green face greets you. You turn around and stumble your way back, but the lizard followed you. The moment the lizard comes out of the tunnel and sees the long-legged thing, it immediately turns around and stops the chase. Not even lizards want to deal with these rotten creatures. So you are somewhat safe, but you need to go the way the lizard went. You climb up and carefully look around and see the lizard slowly making its way upwards as well. So you sneakily follow after it, without it noticing you. Take another turn and climb your way to your spear ledge. It was a close call, but you managed to get in and wait it out. You go out and in again, and watch its movement so you can climb the way up and go past them. Finally, you are able to see some light in between the trash heaps again. Yes, you are on the surface of it all again. And following your way, you arrive at a scavenger toll, that you may pay your passage with the green pearl you got earlier. But the scavengers are unsettled, because a white lizard shows itself there and threatens their peace. They fight it, and this is your chance to run as well. You go further east. And climb up some struts, after which you enter a big room. It reminds you of the scavenger market, where you have given away your blue pearl, but this seems bigger, and there are even more explosive spears down there. Is this what they would call a treasury? You collect two strange looking items. And jump down to grab an explosive spear. But since you are holding a spear already, you wanted to throw that one away. But this causes a chain reaction. Most of the explosive spear detonate because of that. It hits you as well, and you need a little moment to come back to your senses. After grabbing an explosive spear, you still climb around a bit and look around this place. Maybe something else might be hidden. but the only thing coming out of hiding is a giant vulture. You climb up the pole and leave this place. Right out of the tunnel, you spot a white lizard blending in with the environment to wait for new prey. You wanted to jump to a safer location, but you slip and roll right next to the lizard. It goes directly for you. You are caught by it, and in your panic, you accidentally throw your most effective weapon in the wrong direction. It doesn't look good for you. Holding on to the struts, you try to evade it. With your last strength, you climb up and break the grasp on you, using the environment to your advantage, and you manage to escape. That was too close for comfort, and you run for your life towards the scavenger toll. You pass them, but you remember you are on the surface now, so it might be better to know the direction you need to go. You turn around, go back, and catch your breath in the vicinity of the scavengers. Now, towards the white lizard that was already stalking its new prey, another scavenger that was looking around that area as well. They warn you not to pass, but you push past them, since you made up your mind, and the lizard seems to not have an eye for you anymore, since you managed to escape. Climbing up the poles, you get a good vantage point, and you now know where to head to. So you jump down again and run towards the scavengers that might be in danger. They easily dealt with the lizard, but a bigger threat came down and terrorizes the scavengers. Another vulture tries to grab one of them, but they fight as a team and even manage to throw off the mask of that vulture. You continue on your way, since these fellows have the situation under control. One of the scavengers was still hunting that white lizard to get revenge for one of their fallen comrades. And you see, even white lizards can fear the little folks if you are skilled enough. Another green lizard makes its way towards you, while you are concentrated to throw your spear into the wall to get up more easily. It sneaks up on you, but very close you manage to evade it and run again. With all this time and experience, you became more nimble and dexterous, otherwise you would have ended up like one of the visions you always see. Giving it a moment, you return and tread carefully to not fall into a trap set by the lizard. But it is fine, you can continue unimpeded. You find a tube to go into, and the scavenger on the other side seemed to have waited for his chance. He throws a rock at you, to stun you, and grab your spear and run away with it. Usually this would make him an enemy, but you are forgiving and understand his behavior. Right out of the tunnel, the next close encounter that you barely survived because of your dexterity and speed. But this encounter got you in another way, so you are nervous and slip, falling down and hitting the floor a bit too hard. You crawl around in pain, wanting to continue, but you remember to not forget your spear that you let go when you hit the floor. Making your way back up again, you see the green lizard patrolling this area. You have to be careful here. You concentrate and jump. Just in time as the vulture dove down on the very spot you were jumping from. You run up and into the tunnel for safety and run further and further. Another very short vision opens and you see not even poles can be trusted, since those could even be traps as well. You learn, on the surface there are enough other dangers, but at least those are predictable compared to those things you witnessed underground. Above you, two vultures are waiting for a chance, but also fighting among each other for who might get this delicious treat. One of the vultures gets stuck and blocks your path. But again, you wait it out for your chance to proceed, while the other one flies off with a lizard as its meal. You bait it, and then you manage to get a good spear throw in. But those vultures are big, and one spear is not enough to deter them. But at least this made it nervous. You decide you can fight it when it is stuck like that. So after getting multiple hits in, you can just walk past that hurt vulture, when behind you another one arrived again. You run along, and with your speed you almost manage to keep your spear past the garbage worms, but the last one still got a hold of it. You think it might be worth it to go back. So you head back, grab another, and since the vulture was showing its presence, here the worms hid away and you could walk past them without fear of losing your spear again. At the exit of the tunnel, you briefly meet another scavenger explorer squad. You greet them and go the way they came from. Going down, you already see the shelter. But you miss the landing and need to climb up. Suddenly you notice the pole you chose is not a pole, but a pole plant grabbing you. Sticking your spear into it frees you, and yet another close to death encounter is on your record. You find your way up to the shelter anyway, and finally you can relax again. Waking up, the first idea you have is to visualize the way you came from and possible routes to continue. You have a very good sense of direction, and the map in your mind is very thoroughly documented. You are not only a dexterous Slugcat, but as we already witnessed, a very intelligent one as well. Going out of the shelter, you decide to explore a bit more, so you head downwards again. Entering the next room, you find bubble fruit and decide this will be your meal. What you fail to notice in that moment is that in the water there are some leeches waiting for something to drown. You jump into the water and find no direct way up. But then inside the water there is a tube leading upwards. Again, very close, and you struggle a bit to catch your breath, but you survived. Now you know how to do it, and you jump in again. Grab the popped bubble fruit and swim out again. In that process, you clean the water off its leeches. Afterwards, you find a tunnel up and look around in this new area. It seems familiar, but yet it is a different spot to be at. You see some bat flies in the air and try to get to higher ground to reach them. But when you arrive, they just fly away. And something way bigger is flying towards you from above. That is not a bat fly. You fool it to follow you into the water, and leeches do not care about size, so they latch on that vulture. It seems it did not know that and suddenly panics a bit and flies up. With that, some of the leeches let go again, but the vulture still is not convinced to let go of you. Quickly, you find your way to land and into a tunnel, out of which you see another vulture waiting eagerly. You fool it to fly away, and you return. Hopping over swiftly, but another vulture comes down and tries to grab you, but you barely made it over and escape yet again. No spear in hand, no problem with the garbage worms, so you just walk along and find some pop bubble fruit in the water. Which you quickly ingest. Before another vulture preys on you. But you are out of reach anyway. Going into the next room, you plan your way in your mind's eye again. And with this planning, you earn yourself another shelter to be found. You hibernate. And in your dreams, you remember your family again, but you realize that you are on your own now. Milo feels lonely. But he has to be brave. Crawling out of the shelter, you see some scavengers pop out of their lair as well. They probably hid from the rain as you did and are now eager to explore. You go down again and you notice that you are somewhat familiar with this area. You follow that way and find another pearl. Well, it might come in handy. Even the observer tells you something you already know. Scavengers like pearls. A lot. Yet another scavenger toll, but you have payment ready to pass it. A little bit angry because of the stone throwing scavenger from back then, you just toss the pearl, instead of giving it to them. And while you're at it, you also grab one of their spears and climb up and continue. You are hungry, and conveniently you find a popcorn plant. Spear, throw, pop, and now you eat till your belly's content. A garbage worm notices you and watches your eager breakfast. You try to fool the worms into hiding so you can pass them without them taking away your spear. But the last one still got his mouth on it, so you continue without one. You come into an area with tubs full of leeches, and you try to avoid falling into them. In front of the tunnel entry, you are blessed with another spear. Entering the next room, you see even more leeches in the pools. And you fall in one and get nervous, but you make it out and calm down. Focused, you jump from platform to platform. And in the back of the room you see a bigger pool with poles sticking out. A vision tells you not to dwell near the water too much, since there are enough leeches to pull you down and drown you easily, as they did with that other Slugcat. You are careful to stay up top and take each part serious. With this, you do not have the need to come near that pool of death. A smart decision, and you arrive at another gate. With this, another episode ends, leaving the garbage wastes behind. What will Milo encounter next, and how will his journey progress? Find out in the next episode. Why not leave a like and a comment? This supports me greatly, and if you haven't already, consider subscribing to not miss out on the next part of Milo's journey. Until then, we bid you farewell.